Namaste friends and viewers, very warm welcome to the new video. And today my topic is very interesting. It's basically everybody's going through that particular phenomena, and that is stress. So stress and anxiety has become quite common in our modern society because the kind of the lifestyle we are living, and we are not able to cope up with that kind of a lifestyle. All the situations and the circumstances of life are quite overwhelming. Please pay attention to this video because you are going to learn a lot of things today. So would you want the stress to be totally eliminated? No, you would not want stress to be totally eliminated because stress is useful in a way that it helps us to keep in a flight and the fight mode. For example, when you do some kind of an exercise or a physical workout, you put your body on the physical stress, and thereby you improve your muscle tone, you increase your stamina, and you become stronger. Likewise, a bit of stress is important to cope up with the difficult situations in our life, and it helps us to be alert and attentive. However, when the stress remains there in our body for sustained period of time, or you can say when the stress becomes chronic, then it starts destroying our vital organs and it starts taxing our system. Well, how stress affects our immune system and what is the impact of stress on our immune system? As you can see that stress affects our immune system because it activates the HPA axis, which is nothing but hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. When this HPA axis gets activated, then it activates or secretes the stress hormone called cortisol. Eventually, this cortisol affects by influencing a specific region of the brain, which is also known as the hippocampus. This hippocampus region of the brain is responsible for memory and emotional regulation. Higher level of cortisols can actually cause the shrinkage of hippocampus, or we can say that sustained stress can cause shrinkage in the hippocampus region, which would affect our memory and cause mood swing, anxiety, and depression. Well, higher cortisol levels enters the organs and make them adjust to the stress. Now, stress can also affect the neurotransmitters and neuroendocrine systems like dopamine and serotonin systems, which actually lead to an additional mood swing and depression, anxiety. Stress also has a long-term and the short-term impact on your immune system. Acute stress has been shown to increase the production of the cytokines and immune-related molecules, which lead to various infectious diseases and autoimmune disorders. Chronic stress, on the contrary, tend to decrease the production of cytokines and other immune cells, which lead to epilepsy, autoimmune disorders, the various infections, and the health hazards. Stress can also affect the immune system by changing the way the central nervous system and neuroendocrine system function. Well, chronic stress shrinks your lymph nodes, thymus, and spleen, and thereby killing your immune system and make you more vulnerable to different infections and diseases. Well, stress and the heart, or you can say stress and the cardiovascular system. The very first effect of the stress on your heart or the cardiovascular system is basically it increases the heart rate. It can increase or decrease the heart rate based on the individual, which can become irregular significantly. The next significant effect of stress on the heart or the cardiovascular system is increase in the blood pressure. Well, stress can cause the autonomic sympathetic nervous system to increase the vasoconstriction, which eventually lead to increase in the blood pressure, blood lipid levels, blood clotting disorders, and various other cardiovascular disorders like arteriogenesis, all of which can lead to cardiac arrhythmias and other cardiovascular disorders like myocardial infarction. Of course, there are individual differences in the levels of the autonomic response to the stress and it differs based on the individual characteristics, body physiology, anatomy, and the general state of health. And then there are gender specific differences between men and women. It has been found out that women tend to develop heart or the cardiovascular disorders 10 years later than men, largely because of the protective properties of estrogen hormone. Well, stress also has a considerable impact on your digestion and digestive system, as we know that gut is our second brain, and we all know that the digestive system and the functioning of your digestive organs is largely controlled by the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, PNS, or the parasympathetic nervous system, is responsible for inducing the states of rest and the relaxation. So when your brain is activated, it means you are not able to relax and rest and you are stressed. Then there would be a lot of production of stomach acids and the gastric juices, which would lead to stomach ulcers and gastritis and GERD, which is known as GERD or acid reflux. It would be difficult for you to basically cope up with all these symptoms. You must have observed that people are stressed, then they are normally constipated, they get acidity, bloating, and all sorts of digestive issues. Well, stress can also affect the intestine's functional physiology. A lot of people have experienced when they are going through sustained cycles of stress, then they normally get gut inflammation. They develop the mood-based eating disorders or the emotional eating, which can cause all sorts of digestive issues. People can get Crohn's disease, ulcerative GI tract disorders. So you can get all sorts of digestive disorders if you are going through persistent, sustained cycles of stress in your life. Well, when you are stressed, then normally we feel that we become more acidic, right? As I said, that's you become more acidic. But on the contrary, what happens before you become acidic is that stress depletes your hydrogen ions, H plus ions, which cause the alkalosis. Now, this alkalosis is nothing but a depletion of the essential ions like hydrogen ions in your body, and your body start becoming alkaline. To compensate that, your brain gives a signal to your stomach to produce more acid because the body pH is getting altered, and this can lead to all sorts of symptoms like muscle stiffness and cramps, because when your body becomes more alkaline, then you would get muscle cramps and stiffness, you get anxiety, and you also kind of feel fatigue. Well, stress also impacts your respiratory system. So when you are stressed, then your respiration gets impaired. And how does it happen? So when you are stressed, you tend to breathe faster and broken. There is a natural response when the cortisol levels goes high, the oxygen depletion starts happening. And so to compensate that, your brain gives a signal to your lungs, your vital organs, to inhale more oxygen. So you start breathing fast and broken, and which is normally unrhythmic. So what happens that the gaseous exchange of the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, which is CO2, gets impaired, and you tend to hyperventilate because you want to expand your lungs and take more oxygen inside, but you are not exhaling the CO2, and that disrupts the rate of your respiration, and you feel fatigued and out of energy. Well, you need to breathe slowly, you need to breathe long and deep. And a lot of relaxation exercises, for the same reason, trains people to breathe slow, long, and deep, and in a rhythmic fashion. So that fixes the gaseous exchange between the oxygen and the CO2 in your lungs. And that's how your lungs would get more oxygen and eventually more energy. So when people are stressed, their rate of respiration gets impaired, and due to which they are not able to maintain this vital balance of O2 and CO2, the gaseous exchange, which actually happens in your lungs. And that's how I teach the rhythmic slow breathing, which I call a yogic breath, and different other yogic breaths, which fixes this problem. And when you apparently go and breathe deep and slow in a rhythmic fashion, as I mentioned, then you actually help to eliminate the stress, because there is an action and a reaction, but there's always an opposite way it can also work. So if you are stressed, then you are not breathing fine. So what you're going to do, you are going to breathe long, slow, and deep in a rhythmic fashion to fix your stress. Well, one very important aspect when people get stressed, they tend to think a lot, because there are situations in their life which are too demanding and it's overwhelming them, and that's why they are not able to sleep well. So when you don't sleep well, then basically you also tend to get more fats, because when you are stressed, then you actually convert everything in your body into fats, whether it is protein, carbohydrates, sugar. Everything in your body gets converted into fats, because everything in your body gets converted into sugar, and then sugar gets converted into fats. Normally, people have this issue of the belly fat, because they are stressed. And how does it happen? It happens through the vicious loop of your sleep, your wrong eating habits, your bad digestion, and due to which you deposit fats, you are not sleeping well, and you are also having a high blood sugar. So people who are stressed, they can develop the type 2 diabetes quite easily as compared to other people. Now, how does it happen? When you are stressed, then your brain gives a signal to your liver to release more glycogen and generate more glucose, because your body wants to produce more sugar, the, which actually helps the body to be more energetic, feel more energetic. That's a natural response. When the more sugar is created in your body, your sugar metabolism gets suspended. Well, stress raises your blood sugar by converting things into sugar. So when you are stressed, you tend to eat erratically. Basically, you do a lot of emotional eating, because there are mood swings, and you feel that eating food is going to fix your stress and give you some pleasure, which is a normal response, a natural response of any individual undergoing stress. But the negative or the flip side is that you actually kind of disrupt your digestive system by doing random haphazard eating, and also the quality of food is mostly junk food or the pleasure foods with a lot of sugar, and that loads your system, because a lot of sugar actually affects your sugar metabolism and your hormone insulin. So when you are stressed, a lot of things starts get converting into sugar, because your brain gives the signal to your liver to produce more glycogen, and brain also gives signal to your liver to convert protein and carbohydrates into sugar. So everything starts converting into sugar, and when that happens, then over the period of time, you can become diabetic. You can develop a type 2 diabetes, because you have so much of sugar in your blood, which your body cannot metabolize. So high levels of stress can lead to diabetes and obesity, particularly the belly fat, which gets deposited close to your belly. Even though you are not eating sugar, all of this sugar is being generated from various things that you are eating. So when people are stressed, they don't sleep well. So that also can create a lot of complications. It can make you more diabetic, in the sense that your blood sugar levels would be always high, and it can also make you more fatty. So people need to have a very good sleep. Well, the last piece to this puzzle is basically your brain, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the GABA. Well, GABA is nothing but a pathway or the chemical messenger. It's a neurotransmitter. 50% of all the brain synapses are composed of GABA and glutamate, and only 5% are made up of dopamine and serotonin. Well, GABA plays a crucial role in controlling the neuronal excitability, and it has inhibitory effects. Thereby, it helps in reducing the overstimulation of the neurons and produce a general calming and the relaxing effect. It also controls the level of cortisol. Actually, it inhibits the production of cortisol in your bloodstream. People who are going through an excessive sustained stress don't produce enough GABA, and thereby they are not able to control the levels of cortisol. GABA is responsible in regulating your mood, sleep, muscle tone, and anxiety. Deficiencies in the level of GABA has been linked to various neurological and psychiatric disorders like anxiety, depression, and epilepsy. Well, cortisol is normally termed as a stress hormone. Besides from forming the general stress response, it has also got many other functions in your body. Well, by regulating the metabolism, the cortisol essentially controls or regulates how your body uses carbohydrates, fats, and sugars for getting energy. Cortisol can help to get rid of inflammation and kind of stimulate your immune system in the short run. But if you are going through the sustained stress cycles, then you always have an elevated level of cortisol. In that scenario, it would work opposite. It would actually cause more inflammation. It will weaken your immune system. Well, cortisol also controls the blood pressure in humans, though it is not absolutely clear how it does that. But cortisol can actually increase your blood pressure if you're going through an acute stress. On the contrary, if you are too relaxed, it can also lower your blood pressure. Cortisol also regulates your wake and the sleep cycle. We know that cortisol levels are the highest or in its peak in the morning hours, and it is the lowest in the evening hours or the late evening hours. So that proves that cortisol hormone is essentially responsible for maintaining the circadian rhythm of your body. Well, let me talk about the reciprocal relationship between GABA and the cortisol. I've explained a bit about GABA and cortisol individually. Now I'm going to create a correlation because it has got a fascinating correlation. When your body is going through an excessive sustained stress, you are always shooting up your cortisol levels. Thereby, you are inhibiting the production of GABA in your body, because GABA helps to make you feel relaxed, and it induces relaxation. So by manipulating the relationship between GABA and cortisol, it is possible to manage and cope up the stress. And it is quite a hack, because a lot of people actually don't have enough GABA, which is primarily responsible for inhibiting your stress there and kind of puts a check on the production of cortisol in your body. So if we supplement GABA, then it is possible for us to create that inhibitory effect. So it brings our cortisol down, and thereby we feel more relaxed. When it comes to keeping stress at bay, the cortisol and GABA plays quite an opposite role. So your body produces cortisol initially, and then GABA to combat or to cope up with the stress. But if you are quite stressed and your stress is quite excessive, then your cortisol levels will keep shooting up and you would always be in the flight and fight mode. In that scenario, your GABA would not be able to be secreted in enough large quantities so that it can create that inhibitory effect for the cortisol's level to go down. If we supplement the GABA in our food through the Ayurvedic stress relieving tea recipe, which I'm going to give you in the end as a bonus, then it is possible for you to manage and cope up with the stress. I'm not saying that just by supplementing GABA or increasing the levels of GABA in your body would help you to combat stress, but it would certainly help. At the same time, you also have to work on various other aspects that can help you to reduce stress. Well, there are quite a few scientifically proven methods to increase the GABA in your body, But I'm not going to overwhelm you with loads of options here. I'm going to give you just one magical or amazing Ayurvedic stress relieving recipe, or the tea, which you can have, and this alone would be sufficient. However, I'm still going to share a few GABA rich foods and the Ayurvedic herbs that would certainly help. Well, let me talk about this amazing stress relieving Ayurvedic tea. Uh, I have personally taken this stress relieving Ayurvedic tea, and I can tell you with more than 100% that this really works. And you can try and give me your feedback after a month, and this would work in few days, maybe in 2 weeks or 10 days even. But if you want to get positive effects in terms of relieving and bringing down your stress level, then you should ideally consume it for at least 4 to 6 weeks. So the recipe of the tea is very simple, but first I'm going to talk about the ingredients. You take ashwagandha powder. Now, ashwagandha is a amazing stress relieving adaptogen. Uh, there's a loads of information about ashwagandha on the internet, so I'm not going to make this video more longer by explaining you what is ashwagandha. But ashwagandha is a Ayurvedic remedy or the herb which helps in relieving stress, anxiety. It actually increases the levels of GABA. It actually inhibits cortisol, and it induces a lot of states of relaxation, and it helps you to sleep better. So when you sleep better, when you feel more relaxed, when you have more energy, you are not fatigued, and you also feel rejuvenated, then obviously when you have so much of positive effect, then you don't really feel stressed anymore. It means that you still have to do other things that will help you to manage stress, but just having ashwagandha in the combination with other herbs in this tea or alone would certainly help you a lot. The next ingredient is or the herb is brahmi, which is also known as bacopa, and this is a traditional ancient sedative, or the urine in Ayurveda, which basically induces rest and states of relaxation. It also increases GABA. It also inhibits cortisol, and it takes you out of the flight and the fight mode. You get more clarity. You increase your memory. You are able to make better decisions when it's needed, and you can keep yourself calm and relaxed in the decisive moments. Well, the third Ayurvedic herb, or the tagar, and it is an excellent sedative, tranquilizer, and it also actually raises the level of GABA. So what you're going to do now, you are going to take these three herbs in a powder form, and the quantity which I would recommend is half teaspoon each. So you take half teaspoon of ashwagandha, half teaspoon of brahmi, and half teaspoon of tagar, and you're going to take 3.5 to 4 cups of water. You're going to put all the herbs in the powder form in the water. You boil it, and on the low flame, medium to low flame, and keep it boiling for almost 15-20 minutes to 30 minutes until the 4 cups of the water gets reduced to 2 cups or 1.5 cups. And then you divide that 1.5 or 2 cups into half in 2 portions. And then you can take raw organic honey, 1 teaspoon, and put it from the top, because you want to fix the taste part. You want to make it agreeable to your palate or the tongue. So obviously you put some honey, and then you divide it into 2 different doses. One you take in the morning, empty stomach, before you start your day, because you need more relaxed state of mind before you hit your workplace or office or deal with stressful situations. And then the second dose you take 1 hour before you hit the bed, because you need to sleep better. So this is an amazing Ayurvedic stress relieving tea, and I can guarantee you that if you take it for 4 weeks to 6 weeks, you will get almost 60 to 70% relief in your stress symptoms and anxiety. Well, other simple hacks to increase the levels of GABA in your body. The first is exercise, or the physical workout. I would rather recommend you to do restorative kind of physical workouts. If not physical workout, then you can do a lot of walking, you can do yoga. but restorative yoga. Don't do power yoga or a very energetic form of yoga, because that can actually increase your stress. It can give you fears. So don't try challenging type of yoga. Don't start running a lot, because that puts your body in your stress mode. And when your body goes in stress, it passes on the corresponding accumulative effect on your mind. So you don't want to do a very heavy excessive workout here. You want to do restorative yoga rather. Sleep. You need to sleep well, because if you don't sleep well, then your cortisol levels would always be high. So no matter how much GABA you eat or how much GABA rich foods you eat, you would always have high levels of cortisol, which would deplete your GABA. So basically, you need to sleep well. And this tea, which stress relieving tea, which I have recommended to you, this tea is going to help you to sleep better. You will sleep at least 10 times better when you start having this tea. Some foods which contain GABA are magnesium rich foods like pumpkin seeds, almonds, spinach, and also probiotic foods like kefir, or the fermented foods, then yogurt and sauerkraut. In the end, let me walk you through with the amazing benefits of yoga therapy and the pranayama breathing, yogic breathing exercises for inducing the states of relaxation, thereby coping up with stress. Is yoga therapy is quite effective. I myself a yoga therapist and a yoga teacher. I myself have gone through a lot of turbulent times, ups and downs in my life. I actually practiced a lot of relaxation techniques. I did a lot of meditation, and I practiced a lot of yogic breathing like Brahmari, Ujjayi, Nadi Shodhan. All these practices and techniques of Hatha Yoga helps you to relax your body. And when your mind gets relaxed, your body gets relaxed. Everything is controlled through your mind, as we have been discussing about all this brain biochemistry, GABA, cortisol, adrenaline, and all that impact of the stress hormones on your various organs and systems. But if you can control cortisol and take yourself out of the fight and the flight mechanism, then all the negative impact would be eliminated, would be just gone. So we must focus upon relaxing ourselves by inducing the states of rest and relaxation. And yoga therapy is quite an effective way, but you can also use Ayurvedic herbs. You can use this Ayurvedic tea which I've given here, and you would surely be benefited. So hope you found this video informative, and if you have liked this video, then please like and share. And if you are visiting my channel for the first time, then do not forget to subscribe and press the notification bell down there, so that you keep getting updates about newly uploaded videos here. So I'll see you in the next topic. Take a very good care of yourself. For more such informative videos on yoga and Ayurveda, subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the notification bell. Thank you.